Having studied the variety of concentration camp systems that rose in the late 19th century, I think that camp history offers a way to understand what's happening to us right now.
That's part of what I was trying to get across in the book, too.
The first detention sites that had the name concentration camps were run by imperial powers in territories or possessions far away from their capitals. Over a decade later, the decision to intern enemy aliens during World War I brought camps from what was seen as the periphery of power into the heart of empire.
This idea of preemptively detaining civilians becomes too convenient to resist.
This is an example of a phenomena you've probably heard of, one called the imperial boomerang. World War I made internment camps, the mass preemptive detention of civilians without trial on the basis of identity, ubiquitous around the world. From that point forward, camps had been planted in most places around the globe.
They were literally on 6 continents.
Local culture and prejudices took over to influence the form that camps would take in each country on the ground. If we imagine these systems as a tree, I think of indigenous forced relocations and genocide as the underground roots of the tree. Early colonial camps are the visible roots coming out of the ground connecting to the trunk. Those World War I internment camps could be the trunk of the tree, and all the camp systems that grew out of that legacy we could see as the tree's various branches going out in many different directions. But the tree metaphor isn't a perfect model either, because of course, while fascism was rising in Europe
in the 1930s, there were these camps all across the country, and they looked normal. But it wasn't normal. It was Nazi camp.
It already had its own adherents in the US, enough to fill Madison Square Garden and then some.
There's no such thing as foreign fascism. Fascism is always homegrown.
Those movements had support in the US that existed at the same time. And that support never really died, even though those movements did change shape.
We have been seeing really ever since Barack Obama first won election in late 2008, a growth in groups on the radical right. In 2008, we went from about 150 so-called patriot groups, anti-government radical groups, to something like 1,360 groups in 2012. In the last year, though, Donald Trump has added fuel to that fire in a very big way.
And as information and communication could more easily circle the world, both publicly and privately, we saw an increase in the networks of collaboration and repression that developed. So if we belabor the tree metaphor just a little bit more, there were cases where grafts were made from one branch to another or branches crisscrossed. The Nazis famously embraced existing US eugenics and racism and applied them in new ways, even as they had their own roots in those same fields.